and gentlemen, I started my first broadcast this morning at 8 a.m. by saying that 1 billion aspirations are riding today on Prime Minister Modi's growth mantra for an ancient civilization, which is today the shining star on the global horizon. So, at the end of the day, I ask, has Modinomics delivered? Has Modi charted the course for growth bhi, popularity bhi? Ask the middle class, and it's an emphatic Jai Ho, reflecting in the Viksit Bharat vision. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced a big tax relief. There will be no income tax for those who earn up to rupees 12 lakhs per year. After that, those with rupees 4 to 8 lakh taxable income will pay at the rate of 5% taxes. Those between 8 and 12% will pay 10%. From 12 to 16 lakhs income slabs, there will be a 15% tax payment, and from 16 to 20 it will be 20%. Between 20 and 24 it will be 25%, and if you have income above 24 lakhs, you will have an income tax rate of 30%. So across slabs, even if you are earning 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore, every single middle class member will get some savings in their pockets. But let's simplify and explain what this means for you. Under the new regime, if your income is 8 lakh rupees, you save about 30,000. If it is 10 lakhs, you actually save 50,000 rupees per year. And if you have 12 lakh rupees as your income of taxable income, then you save about 80,000 rupees per year. And so on, every single slab will see some or the other savings. Up to 50 lakh income earners will get a 1.1 lakh rupees extra in their pockets from lower tax rates. Let's also tell you how this will impact a sizable part of the middle income population. About 30% of India consists of the middle class. They are also 67% of Delhi, which is going to polls merely 4 days from now. They form about 24% of Bengal, 29% of Uttar Pradesh, and 31% of Tamil Nadu. So middle income class groups in all of these states will be literally rejoicing, dancing. Interestingly, this class is also likely to double by 2047 to 61% of the country's population, when 1.02 billion people will fall under the middle class bracket. But was this outreach to the middle class by the Modi Sarkar just relief or a marked necessity? Look at how the middle class voted in the Lok Sabha elections. BJP's share of the middle class pie went from 32% in 2014 to 38% in 2019. It dipped to 35% in 2024, signaling the class moving just a bit away but solidly behind Narendra Modi. So is it only about politics? Meanwhile, the India Alliance went from 23% in 2014 to 29% in 2019, even managed an impressive 32% vote share in the 2024 elections. But while the salaried class got some much needed cheer in the budget, the Vipaksh still has a trust deficit. They have frowned and asked questions on how will this bring down inflation or create jobs. They've also alleged that this tax break is a poll outreach to the sizable middle class income group in Delhi. Listen in to the opposition's attack.
मायूस किया है बजट ने और किसानों को कुछ नहीं मिला। मिडिल क्लास महंगाई कम चाहती है, अगर महंगाई कम नहीं होगी तो आप कितना भी रिबेट दे दोगे, मिडिल क्लास संपन्न नहीं होगी।
बजट में है ही कुछ नहीं भैया, देखना क्या है इसमें। ये तो मतलब गरीब को और गरीब कर देगा और अमीर को अमीर करेंगे।
ये भी जानिए कि अगर आपके पास तनख्वाह है तो आप कम टैक्स देंगे, लेकिन जिनके पास रोजगार नहीं है उनके पास तनख्वाह कहाँ से है?
This increase in slab is going to help less than 1 crore of the population.
But it's not just about the middle class. The opposition has also stated that the budget is just Bihar, Bihar, Bihar. Sample this. Poll-bound state of Modi's alliance party, Bihar, Nitish is all set to get a Makhana board and a National Institute of Food Technology and Management. There will be fillip to food processing activity in the state, while in Patna will get more hostels and other infrastructure. Greenfield airports will come up in Bihar, while Patna airport capacity will be increased. Funds will also be given for the Western Kosi Canal project. So Bihar, top of the pops. This bumper bonanza for poll-bound Bihar has the opposition asking, is this the budget of India or is this the budget of Bihar? Watch this.
जो आज का बजट है, बिहार के साथ कहीं ना कहीं से खिलवाड़ किया जा रहा है, सौतेला व्यवहार किया जा रहा है। और जो पिछले बजट में जो बात आई थी, उसी को दोहराने की बात इन लोगों ने किया है।
स्पेशल पैकेज इन बातों की तुलना में ये बजट का ये जो लोक लुभावना बजट बिहार को देख के पेश किया गया है, वो मुझे लॉलीपॉप समान दिखता है।
Was this a budget of the government of India or was this a budget of the government of Bihar?
The infrastructure is not going for the rest of the country. It's only going towards Bihar because we all know that this year is the Bihar election. So basically, for essence, and Maharashtra has been ignored, and Tamil Nadu, there's not a single word for Tamil Nadu or for any other southern states.
बिहार जहाँ पे चोन आ रही है, बिहार बिहार बिहार, उसके बाद असम की आ रही है तो असम, पंजाब का तो नामो निशानी।
But is the opposition correct in saying that the poor, kisans and other classes have been given a raw deal? Sample this. The allocation for Ayushman Bharat Yojana has gone up from rupees 7,300 crores to about 9,406 crores. Prime Minister's Awas Yojana Grameen witnesses an increase from 54,500 crore to 54,832 crores. So there is continued boost for rural housing. Prime Minister Kisan Yojana goes up from 60,000 crores to 63,000 crore. However, Manrega remains constant at 86,000 crores. And even the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana remains the same at 19,000 crore. So ladies and gentlemen, the legitimate question that is being asked by many tonight, Modinomics, growth bhi, popularity bhi? That's the question and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Deepak Reddy, national spokesperson of the TDP, Sanjay Jha, author, Congress leader, Ram Pratap Singh, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Dr. Pawan Verma, former member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha, author and national spokesperson of Jan Suraj, Kalikesh Narayan Singhdeo, MLA of the BJD, Jasmine Shah, national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, MB Rajesh, Minister of Excise in Kerala. Also joining me this evening, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, former Union Minister from the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan and Rohit Azad, both scientists and economists from the JNU. So we have a special JNU bench in our studios tonight. But my first question goes to Jasmine Shah of the Aam Aadmi Party, who could be a very worried man tonight. Jasmine Shah, worried? Middle class, 67% population of Delhi, and that's the class that is celebrating tonight because the tax breaks given by the Modi Sarkar have literally never happened in the last 3 or 4 decades. Does that make you nervous?
Navika, this entire budget is a huge disappointment for everyone, and including the middle classes. And I'll tell you why. You know, the total middle classes in India, as you said, is around 30%. Now, only 2% of Indians actually pay income tax. So yes, you gave some relief to that 2% Indians. But what happens to the remaining 98%? Mr. Arvind Kejriwal 2 weeks back articulated the pain of India's dying middle class. मतलब ये ऐसा हो गया कि ये middle class जो मर रहा था, उसको आपने एक छोटी lollipop पकड़ा दी और बोले कि जब तुम खुश रहो. The remaining middle class There are so many things that they are not getting. Look at the taxes, the indirect taxes that they are paying, which is highest. On all essential day-to-day items, GST has been imposed for the first time in the last many years. You look at the taxes they are paying on diesel, on petrol, on LPG. Forget that. What are you doing with their taxes? Are you spending on their health and education? Absolutely not. We demanded that the education and health budget should be increased to 10%. Do you know what it is? It is a shocking 2.5%, the education budget. Health budget is a shocking 1.9%. आपने बनाई एजुकेशन और हेल्थ सिस्टम की मिडिल क्लास मजबूर हो जाए कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर में जाके हेल्थ और एजुकेशन पे हजारों लाखों रुपए खर्च करे. We asked for some relief for the senior citizens. We asked कि उनके लिए पेंशन प्लान लाइए, 50% कंसेशन जो रेल टिकट्स में मिलता था वो वापस लागू कीजिए. So if you had, and we had asked that GST be rolled back on all essential day-to-day food items. The food inflation is through the roof. So by giving some relief to 2%, I think the debate should be, should the budget be for 2% of India's population or for 100% of India's population? Unfortunately, the remaining 98% of India's population के लिए कुछ नहीं है, and especially the 90% of the population that earns less than 25,000 rupees per month. उनके wages कैसे बढ़ेंगे? Just yesterday, Navika, the economic survey said that the wages, the real wages in India have declined in the last 6 years. It used to be 12,000 rupees in 2018. आज वो घट के 9,500 रुपए हो गया है. तो आमदनी बढ़ नहीं रही है, jobs आए नहीं. 2 करोड़ jobs के जुमले का क्या हुआ? There is no answer. The farmers' wage was supposed to double by 2022. MSP was supposed to be legalized.
Oh my God.
Plan was supposed to be there. There is no plan for them. Youth के लिए jobs कहाँ से आएंगे? उसके ऊपर कोई plan नहीं है. And what about schools? What about education?
Oh. So many. It's an unending list, Jasmine Shah. It's an unending list. Let me go straight across to get the answers from Rajiv Chandrasekhar, because Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Rahul Gandhi says in his tweet, the first reaction to the budget, that a band-aid for bullet wounds. Amidst global uncertainties, solving our economic crisis demanded a paradigm shift, but this government is bankrupt of ideas. And you've heard what the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson had to say. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, will you respond? Is this a reaction born out of cynicism? Is it born out of worry because Delhi elections are coming? Or is it the standard reaction that comes after every single budget?
Navika, thank you for having me on the show. And I just want to say that I heard the gentleman from Aam Aadmi Party. And it is, as you say, this is the expected reaction. When the cup is 3/4 full, they will say it's 1/4 empty. If the cup is half full, it's half empty. Look, the truth is what the people of India have repeatedly supported Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji for. Over the last 10 years, he has systematically transformed our economy, qualitatively and quantitatively. He has built infrastructure that is impacting hundreds of crores of Indians' lives, both rural and urban. And today, he has brought the economy to a stage where the fruits of his labor are available to the middle class by way of a tax exemption to 12 lakhs. That is the story, that over the last 11 years, qualitatively and quantitatively, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has made India an aspirational economy and is moving it from the fragile 5 to the top 3 economies. Now, if you ask the gentleman from Aam Aadmi Party, the last 10 years, the people of Delhi trusted Arvind Kejriwal. What did they do with the mandate? He will come up with a flat 0, a bada anda. So therefore, instead of doing this pitch of what he said during the Lok Sabha elections and all 7 seats the people of Delhi rejecting him for, there is no point bringing the same playbook and the same script back to every debate, every discussion about the budget. This is a budget that is very clearly, as the Prime Minister said today, is a pro-investment budget, is a pro-consumption budget, it is a pro-savings budget, it is a budget that is dealing with the people of India, whether he or she is a farmer, whether he or she is a rural or an urban citizen, he or she is middle class, or he or she runs a small, medium enterprise. This is certainly a budget that tells the people of India the last 10, 11 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's hard work has brought the country to a stage where today what used to be a 1 lakh exemption for the middle class is now a 12 lakh exemption. As Monica Halan said earlier in the morning today, Navika, in your show, this is really a re-rating of India and the re-rating of Indian citizens and their aspirations and their future. It is a significant milestone. People in the Aam Aadmi Party and certainly Rahul Gandhi with his communist Marxist economic ideologies will never get this. And it's fine. They are not part of this narrative of taking the country forward. They are part of the narrative of liquor scams, 2G scams, and every other scam and malgovernance that this country has rejected in 2014 and will reject in Delhi in the coming elections.
Well, let me get in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, the point really here is that whether it is the Pradhan Mantri Gram Awas Yojana, whether it is the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, whether it is Ayushman Bharat, all of these see their outlays growing, which clearly means the poor have been looked after. When it comes to the income tax relief, well, the middle classes are celebrating. We did a call-in show and 100% of the people supported this government for looking at the middle class, giving them the tax breaks that they deserved. And some of them, not always in favor of Narendra Modi, said that, this particular budget is 100%, kudos to Modi. I want to ask you, is this something that is worrying the Congress party? Because there is growth bhi and popularity bhi. And is that the worry for the Congress party, for the opposition party?
Navika, good evening. You go back to last year. I remember when the budget discussions happened, the BJP and their spokespeople made the same hype. This is going to be a breakthrough year and the economy will face a turnaround. And look where we are. 5.4% in the second quarter, and we are looking at perhaps the lowest GDP in 4 years. And the forecast for next year, the budget notwithstanding, is not good at all. In fact, it's 6.5 in a very optimistic forecast. The truth that Rajiv Chandrasekhar will have to accept, because I'm not going to indulge in the hyperbole that he did, is that over the last 6 years, India has grown at GDP of 5%. And in fact, pre-pandemic, we were down to 4%. So the India growth story actually eviscerated after the demonetization and the sloppy execution of GST in the year that followed, that destroyed the MSME, destroyed the informal sector. And trust me, that is why, Navika, we call this as a structural economic crisis. Jasmine has actually made some very pertinent points. I'll only add to them. I don't want to repeat what is already said. Let's look at, for example, the truth. The truth is that the economic survey itself tells you two very critical messages for the government. And this is, by the way, from the chief economic advisor to the government. Get out of the way and reduce this climate of fear and retribution, what I call is the Modi trinity of ED, CBI and income tax, that has destroyed the confidence of the Indian industry. And that is the critical part that cannot be ignored. Since the morning, I've been hearing a lot of the right-wing people saying that by cutting the income tax, it will result in a boost in consumption, investment and growth. Let me tell you, Navika, you are a student of economics and so am I, if it was possible to sort out a structural flaw by reducing income tax, then I don't think we really are talking serious economics here. I'll tell you why. Look at the four components of the GDP. Private investment hasn't grown. And Rajiv Chandrasekhar has been part of the corporate sector. And this is a question I would like him to answer. What happened, Rajiv, to that big bonanza of tax cuts you gave in 2019? And the FM talked about jobs and investment. 6 years later, nothing really has happened. Look at exports. In an age of currency wars and tariffs, India's exports have already flattened out. Look at demand. After the opposition has been screaming left, right and center, give more cash in the hands of individuals, the government has belatedly acknowledged it by giving this tax relief. But as Jasmine rightly pointed out, do you really think that a person earning 25 lakhs and 50 lakhs a year is going to be very excited at saving 80,000 or a lakh? I don't think they really even count that. So it will affect those who are probably in the margin of the benefits, which is a very small segment. And last but not the least, how do you expect government expenditure to really run an economy? That's what they've been trying to do, and it's not resulted in any gain. So here is my last point for Rajiv to answer really. If I buy your argument and disposable income goes up, do you really think that overnight everybody will spend all the money saved for the year in year one or in the 6 months? No, there's a time lag. Secondly, a lot of people will save more. They may not spend all that money. And third, many of them are going to be brutalized by inflation. So what is the net benefit for the economy? I am actually mystified as to where their optimism comes from.
Absolutely, you're missing every point of the budget because Sanjay Jha, I think you need a doctor because आपको कुछ नजर नहीं आ रहा, आंखों के सामने धुंधला अंधेरा है. You need a doctor more than you need the finance minister and the budget at this point. But before I get in Rajiv, I want to get in the scientist Anand Ranganathan. What do you think is the ailment Sanjay Jha is suffering from? Budget blues or is it something else?
No, I mean, look, first, let me first congratulate BJP for winning the Delhi and Bihar elections. I think congratulations. They have to decide who the chief minister is going to be. But as far as the budget is concerned, first, can I talk seriously about the great things coming out of the budget? Because this income tax relief has completely clouded some other very important aspects of the budget. So please give me 30 seconds. Number one, increase in the allocation for Ayushman. People don't realize, when people are talking only about middle class out here, how beneficial Ayushman has been not only for the health of the the socially, economically deprived segment of our population, the poor people, but also economically. I mean, out-of-pocket expenditure for health is the fastest way Indians go into poverty. And 380 million Ayushman health cards that have been distributed have slashed out-of-pocket expenditure by 21%. So this is a great step to increase Ayushman thing. And by the way, more than the population of United Kingdom, 70 million people have already been treated through the Ayushman health thing. The second is very close to my heart, and it's fantastic that, you know, we have escaped the talons of the loony left to increase our nuclear, aspirations is one of the star things that this budget has done. To have 100 gigawatts by 2047 coming out of nuclear is fantastic. To have 5 nuclear reactors by 2033, I think that's the way to go. So that's the second thing. The third is, of course, cancer drugs. They've removed the duty. As for why the duty was there at the first place, that's criminal, and people should, heads should roll for that. Now let me come to the tax. It is great that this has happened. I think cumulatively, and Rohit would possibly inform me more, government is set to quote unquote lose 1 lakh rupees directly out of this relief.
1 lakh crore.
1 lakh crore, I beg your pardon, 1 lakh crores, yes. But of course, more money in the pocket of people can have many results, outcomes. Some of the outcomes that Sanjay says are also true. I mean, you have the food inflation right now at 8%. Of course, during the UPA it was 12%, but never mind, it's high right now because retail inflation is about 4%. Food inflation is high. Now, if you do not increase the productivity and you increase suddenly disposable income, it would lead to inflation. That is the reason why when you cut interest rates, it leads to inflation at times, but it's not always true. The fact of the matter is, it might not, but it will also spur economic activity. People might invest more in the stock market. With that extra money, they would spend it. It's basically, it would spur growth is my assessment.
Velocity of money and the multiplier impact.
But finally, for heaven's sake, as I was saying, glass half full, glass half empty, there are people who even today are not even considering that there is a glass and there is water. Can you please ask the panelists, do they accept the CLEMS RBI data that last year 47 million jobs were created? This canard that jobs नहीं create हो रहे, UPA के time पे ज़्यादा jobs create, अरे भाई data आपको या तो नहीं मानना है तो कह दो. वही CLEMS का data आप 2009-2010 में मान रहे थे. यहाँ पे जब आया 47 million तो नहीं ये तो सब गलत है.
Well, every match is fixed when it doesn't suit you. But MB Rajesh, in terms of socialism, in terms of the objectives of the government, has this government done better than even possibly the Kerala government? Because isn't it true that the state government in Kerala has cut down on funding to tribal and minority welfare because of a fund crunch? Here you have capex, at 11 lakh crores. You have all the important schemes either staying there at the high levels or growing, and you have a tax relief that is coming in for the middle classes. Has the centre balanced its budget better than the Kerala government?
At the very outset, let me draw your attention to the economic survey tabled in the Parliament yesterday. In that economic survey, on several aspects, the Niti Aayog and Union government has made congratulatory comments on Kerala's achievements. I would like you to go through those comments. I have seen many paragraphs praising Kerala's achievements in waste management, in poverty reduction, in agriculture, and in many other sectors. So please go through that document. It is the document tabled in the Parliament yesterday. And now coming to the budget. This budget was expected to address some of the serious ailments the Indian economy is facing today. I would like to draw your attention again to a Reuters report published a couple of days ago. That report shows how Indian economy is crisis ridden. Indian economy is facing multiple crises. The economy is slowing down. There is crisis in terms of investment, in terms of trade, in terms of inflation. So this budget was expected to address these crises and ailments. But unfortunately, the measures announced in this budget are grossly inadequate to address these serious ailments. This budget is a contractionary budget. The fiscal contraction between this financial year and the next financial is likely to be 0.3%, which amounts to 1 lakh crore. That means in a time of slowing down in the economy, the budget is going to be contractionary, and the contraction will amount to rupees 1 lakh crore. And thirdly, even though some tax concessions have been announced, especially to the middle class in income tax benefits, this is also grossly inadequate because only 2% of our population pays income tax. And this is insufficient because you cannot boost spending, you cannot boost consumption by doling out benefits to just 2% of our population. So that is why I'm saying that this budget has completely failed to address the serious crisis Indian economy is facing today.
Well, it's only fair that Rajiv Chandrasekhar responds to both Sanjay Jha and Mr. M.B. Rajesh. I'll come back to you. Rajiv.
So, Navika, I just want to comment on, obviously, you have a galaxy of economic stars here with whom I can't be compared. M.B. Rajesh says only 2% of people in India pay taxes and they have been given a relief and the rest don't pay taxes. So I don't know what he wants to say, that those who don't pay taxes should also be made to pay taxes. I mean, given the fact that tax GDP ratios are so low in India historically and has grown only in recent years, to the middle class, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, after 10 years of reforms and rebuilding the economy, has given a substantial tax break. And I think anybody with some degree of common sense would appreciate that. Now, to the Right Honorable Sanjay Jha, who is obviously the ideologue of the Congress and the India Alliance and is an economist par excellence, they talk about structural reforms as if it is some magic mantra. I'm very happy to concede to him that they are much smarter. P. Chidambaram, when he talked about the UPI failing, is much smarter. Chidambaram yesterday talked about the economic survey. They are absolutely more brilliant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji focuses on a very commonsensical approach to economics. This is not an attempt to win any Nobel Prize in economics. It is about people first, nation first, create a growing economy, give the benefits of the growing economy to the people and to building infrastructure. And if the Congress is so good in economics, why doesn't he fix the Himachal economy? Why doesn't he fix the Karnataka economy, where they're all struggling to create resources for development? So my suggestion to him would be to go look there and apply all of his sophisticated economic knowledge to states of the Congress that require help. In terms of this comment, absolutely loose comment about 2019 tax break, where are the investments? Obviously, the problem with the India Alliance, Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party alike is that they are ostriches with heads in the sand deliberately, because they haven't seen the $20 billion of mobile phone exports coming out of India on plants started post 2019. They have not recognized semiconductor plants coming up in India, plants started after 2019. They have not noticed that factories are coming up in Maharashtra that are going to make aeroplanes, helicopters, plants that have come up after 2019. They haven't seen the domestic electronics manufacturing sector grow with new plants post 2019. Now, if you put your head in the sand or read from Rahul Gandhi's economics playbook or Sam Pitoda's economic playbooks, you will certainly be disappointed with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's management of the economy. And that is something we are not able to address. You will have to go to Sam Pitoda and Rahul Gandhi and get that thing fixed. Something that we can't do for you.
Sanjay Jha, 30 seconds, counter.
Yeah. You need to explain how immoral can your government be, Rajiv, that you're talking about all these so-called achievements. Well, they should be captured in the GDP. The GDP doesn't say so. You're talking about the factories built and the jobs created, but they are visible only to your naked eye.
Which is why we are the fastest growing economy in the world. Which is why we are the fastest growing economy in the world.
Here's my point. Here's my point. Let me finish. Personal income tax collections today exceed corporate income tax collections. I think you need to explain to the viewers, why is this happening when you find that 60% of India's population, 800 million people, are living on free food grains. They're vulnerable to poverty if they fall sick. And you're telling me that the personal income contributions exceed corporate tax? You got to explain that. The second point, where are the jobs? If you don't have jobs, you won't have income.
Navika,
if you don't have income, you don't get demand.
Well, can I tell you another explanation? And that explanation is you go above the subsistence level, don't spend on food grains, but you begin to spend on proteins, you begin to increase the quality of life. But that fact is not something that you're interested in seeing. So, Deepak Reddy, are you saying just because some free
Navika.
food grains? Yes, Rajiv. Yes, Rajiv.
No, look, I want to tell Sanjay and his colleagues in the India Alliance, this is a very tired playbook that you are playing off of. People have heard it multiple times. They've heard it from Rahul Gandhi, so they don't need to hear it from you. And they've rejected it for the lies that they are. So therefore, let's not play this for Marxist, for socialist economics here. And if that is what you think, we think differently. We think about supporting and trusting people's enterprise for them to grow, develop. We don't believe in redistribution of wealth. You and MB Rajesh and the gentleman from Aam Aadmi Party may subscribe to that. We don't believe in that. And that is why India is where it is today versus where India was where it was after 10 years of the Congress UPA. So the people of India know.
Cancel PM Kisan, cancel Manrega. Why do you have it?
Well,
why are you trying to even help the rural poor? Don't cancel it.
Well, you know, Sanjay Jha, it's like you have to win elections to come and form the policies, and this government has won elections forming the policy. You don't like it, that's your right. But Deepak Reddy, I want to ask you, is there a problem? Is the opposition in need of a doctor rather than the finance minister's budget? Because nothing seems to be right as per them.
Navika, after listening to all the panelists, I'm getting tempted to talk politics first and budget next. But let me first start off with the topic. That's
politics is what works. Go ahead with the politics. Deepak Reddy, politics is what is running the country.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
economics, who is interested? Certainly not Sanjay Jha.
That's what I'm getting really tempted to do.
Go right ahead.
That's exactly what I'm tempted to do. But okay, since you said, let me start off with politics. I would like to start off by saying the seriousness of the opposition. They have staged a walkout. So that is the degree of seriousness they have towards the budget. And I would also like to thank the Congress party for a change, because they have not trivialized like the earlier budgets by saying halwa or by talking about caste and things like that. And I would also like to thank the indie ecosystem by not playing Shekuni tricks on us, on TDP, saying that Bihar is mentioned more and Andhra is not given as much mention. They haven't played such games. So I would like to thank both of them on this. And now coming straight to the point, I think Delhi elections are already won. You already gave the figures of the middle class, and the foundation has been set for the victory of Bihar elections also. This is the political statement I would like to make. So now coming to the budget aspect, it's clearly in the direction of Viksit Bharat. It reveals 5 aims: accelerated growth, inclusive development, invigorating private sector investment, uplifting household sentiment, and enhancing the middle class spending power. Clearly, all sectors are being covered in the budget. You look at the agriculture, look at MSME, look at health, look at tourism, even skilling is talked about, the power sector, shipping, minerals, and on and on. Every aspect is covered in detail. I mean, there's been priority given to the middle class, the poor, the youth, the farmers, and women. I mean, you can see it very clearly. In spite of that, it surprises that these people are playing politics. It is citizen friendly, and the finance minister has actually clearly said that they're looking at reforms in the income tax way of functioning and in several aspects of governance also. So, I'm very happy for this budget, and our Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu ji has actually congratulated the finance minister, and our TDLP parliamentary party has actually called for a press meet and have thanked the Prime Minister for such a wonderful budget.
Well, you're not pulling support because Bihar has got more attention than Andhra has, because that's what the Congress probably wants to hear.
They're contesting from Bihar.
Are you?
That's true, Navika. I mean, for a change, I'm happy. I'm happy that they have realized that the Shekuni tricks are no longer going to work.
All right, Shakuni tricks. Pawan Verma, Shakuni tricks not working, but Bihar को अगर attention मिल रहा है, तो विपक्ष के पेट में दर्द क्यों हो रहा है? Can you explain this phenomenon? Because you know, a few announcements for Bihar have been made. The Congress, the DMK, extremely upset. Do you think you know, trivializing the budget to, oh, there are announcements for Bihar but not for Tamil Nadu or other states, or do you think you know, completely talking about you know, structural reforms and you know, addressing every single ill of the economy in one single budget, is that trivializing the effort of the budget? Or is the opposition trying to distract away from the big announcements and the fact that the middle class has got a huge relief, and that is something that makes them nervous about, well, adding to the popularity of the very popular Narendra Modi?
Thank you very much, Navika. I waited a long time for my chance to speak. I don't think I'm going to be very popular on your show, because I am not going to take extreme positions of either completely condemning the budget or becoming euphoric about it. So having said that,
we love you.
I may not be.
There are very few people who walk the middle path.
Panel. No, I walk it with conviction, and I really want to have for the 2 minutes that you will give me, I want to have a little serious discussion on this budget. First of all, I want to make a public announcement that I have great respect for Nirmala Sitharaman. She's a personal friend. We were in Parliament together, and she's sincere and diligent. Having said that, I do want to question the kind of inference you are drawing from some relief she has provided from the middle class by making it to be a path-breaking budget. I think that is an exaggeration also. In our country, Navika, 6.68% of the population files an income tax return, of which roughly half actually pay taxes. It's a very good thing that they have got some relief. But in your opening statement, you yourself said that the size of the Indian middle class is, according to you, 30 crores. In my view, it is definitely around 200 crores and is likely to grow substantially.
30% of
I've
the
written
population.
a book called The Great Indian Middle
20
Class.
crores.
So therefore, I believe that just these tax concessions to the middle class, even for the middle class, does not really solve some of its essential expectations from the future. Now, why do I say this? Of course, they will welcome the tax relief. Middle class essentially looks at every budget in terms of a tax relief. But the actual incremental benefit to the middle class from this relief needs to be dispassionately evaluated. First of all, even if they get this concession, there is rising inflation, especially on food items, which you talk to any middle class person, they say, साहब इनकम तो कम हो रही है और चीजों का दाम बढ़ रहा है, तो अगर हमें थोड़ा बहुत कंसेशन मिला, इसके लिए हम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अर्ज करते हैं, पर इससे हमारा ज्यादा फायदा नहीं होगा. Secondly, a lot of indirect taxes further erode the middle class's income. Thirdly, one of the great hopes, the golden hopes of the middle class earlier and hopefully in the future was jobs, that their educated young will get jobs in the market. And I don't want to disagree with my good friend Anand, maybe jobs have been created, but government data says that unemployment between the ages of 18 to 24 is at 14.5%, when the year before that it was at 12.4%. So obviously somewhere there are more unemployed or unemployable people coming out from our universities and colleges without finding jobs, which is not good news for the middle class.
Certainly.
So therefore I say, please judge everything without either becoming extremely critical or euphoric. Thirdly, and this is my last point because obviously there's a shortage of time. You see, when we talk or anybody talks of structural problems, it is but obvious that you actually take them head on. I'm not saying one budget can solve it. The last budget which sought to make policy changes of a radical nature was 1991, when Dr. Manmohan Singh presented his budget. I don't expect every budget to do that. But we have a situation where we are the fastest growing economy of the world. We are proud of it. Yet we have the largest number of the unacceptably poor. We have the best educational institutions in the world, some of them. We also have 30% women who can't read or write, 17% men who can't read or write. We have the best hospitals in the world in terms of equipment. But we also have the worst primary care health facility in this country, and I agree that it's a crying shame that 1.9% of the budget has been allocated to health, one of the lowest in the world. You please visit, Navika, our primary school infrastructure. School है तो टीचर नहीं है, टीचर है तो स्कूल नहीं है. We need to have radical changes
Verma,
in these areas.
you know, there is not one fact that I disagree with. But I want to ask you, is the budget going to solve all of this?
Yeah.
Is there onus on the states as well or not on educational infrastructure, on primary health infrastructure? What are state governments doing? Is there any accountability on that? Why do political parties only expect the answers to come from the union budget is also a question that needs and begs an answer. But Kalikesh, I know the glass is neither half full nor half empty. Some people believe that there is no glass, there is no water. It is extinct. Yet, I want to ask you, what do you think about the budget? It recognizes certain problems, it gives a certain direction, it has looked at some symptoms, given some remedies. Does it do everything? Certainly not. But is it in the right direction? Would you say yes?
Navika, certainly the budget has given considerable tax breaks to the middle class is a good thing. It was long awaited and comes at a time where the middle class was being isolated and completely ignored by repeated budgets in the past 5 or 10 years, I would say. Certainly it's a great thing, especially in this time of high inflation. Whether it will lead to increased consumption and spending which will fuel the economy, I have a serious doubt on. I think small tinkering of tax rates will not yield the kind of results that the finance minister is hoping. I mean, if I am wrong, I would be the happiest. I think a lot more needed to be done to incentivize consumption, to incentivize investments, whether it's domestic or private, or for that matter, foreign investment. I take the words of the panelists before me that a certain amount of jobs have been created, a certain amount of investments have come in certain sectors. But when you look at the economy as a overall, Pawan is right. There is a rising increase in unemployment and underemployment, especially in the rural areas. There are educated, now so-called educated people who do not want to work the fields any longer, who do not want to do jobs which they consider below them. And the kind of job creation which is expected to create the youth as an asset for tomorrow is not happening, and ultimately we will end up becoming a liability. They will end up becoming a liability for our nation. So there is a serious problem.
There is a serious problem. Anand Ranganathan, Rohit, coming to you. Anand.
Of course, it's not just a serious problem, it's a catastrophic problem. But here is the thing. You want heads as well as tails. Now, half the panelists out here are saying, look, where are the tough reforms? Where are the structural reforms? This budget does nothing. When you want to do those structural reforms, when the greatest reforms ever promulgated since independent India came into being, were called black laws, the 3 farm laws, the same opposition that cries out for reforms went against it, blockaded India for a year. The 3 farm reforms would have catapulted the agricultural sector that contributes a pitiful 14% to our GDP, yet employs 44% of our workforce, yet has 40% of the total arable land of 70 million hectares being virtually destroyed by elements in the last 6 years, drought and flood, and you're talking about reforms? So please, let's not have double standards.
So if you want reforms, structural reforms, who in this country actually supports those reforms?
Yes.
So first, just on a lighter note, was the independence in 47 or 2014? I don't know what your position on that. But let me first speak about this tax, because it's a huge thing. I think there is a tax break which has been given. But about the glass empty or full, it's essentially going to still help only 3%, right? According to your own data, because 3% pay taxes. Right.
No glass,
so
no water.
Essentially, it's just those 3%, right? So the rest of the middle class anyway was not paying taxes. So let's look at that number, that 3%. How much market can the 3% provide, right? Let's look at the numbers. They have, and the revenue foregone as a result of this tax break is going to be 1 lakh crore. We are going to lose that money. The projection is we are going to get 1.8 lakh crore from where? Where are we getting? First, we are losing, and we are going to make up not just that 1 lakh crore, we are going to get 2 lakh crore more. Where? Where is it going to come from? I think, as I've said earlier, that there is a lot of kite flying happening here. There are certain expectations about the GDP growth. When you're only giving respite to 3%, how can you expect the GDP to grow like this?
Ram Pratap Singh, do you also believe that kuch nahi hone wala, bas sab kuch samapt ho gaya hai, bas pralay aa gayi hai?
Thank you, Navika. No, I see some light here in the budget. For the 2 sectors that I was talking this morning, definitely this budget recognizes that MSME is collapsing, needs to be fixed. There is agrarian distress, and that needs to be sorted. They identify the symptoms, but somehow when it comes to delivering solutions, they are not headed in the right direction. And that's where I would like to point out that MSME needs investment in infrastructure, creation of technology parks, marketing platforms, and not more credit. I mean, more credit is welcome, but the other things are also needed which are not being addressed in this budget. Similarly, agrarian distress will be resolved by expanding the crop basket, putting in tech inputs again into farming, using AI for better farming inputs. But that's not being addressed. What we are talking about is just
AI in farming, when you actually support those sitting on Shabbu border, is a bit rich coming from the opposition. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Well, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, last word, very little time, but in 30 seconds, can you tell me, Dil Mange more for the opposition is very evident, but you know, are they completely removed from reality? Will they ever talk about supporting some of these so-called structural reforms that they desire, but when you implement, they go in the other direction?
Look, Navika, let's be clear here. The only time the opposition talks about structural reforms is when the government announces its budget. For the rest of the 364 days, they stop, block, misinform people about every step that the government is taking. I don't have to say this today. This is the fact for the last 10 years. And the progress that we made as a nation has been despite the opposition of our country, not with their support or with their constructive input. That is the truth that the people of India know. That Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has, over the last 10 years, transformed India and taken India forward despite this opposition that talks about reforms during budget day. True. And then every other day opposes every good thing that this government wants to do for the people.
Well said, but as far as people of India are concerned, well, they voted Modi, even if a little reduced mandate for the third term, yet they put their faith in him. And today, when they heard the finance minister making these announcements about the tax cuts, there was a resounding applause from the people of India. Opposition thinks it's too little, but for Modi, growth bhi, popularity bhi, well, people of India and people for Delhi will answer very soon. What that answer will be, well, we'll keep bringing you back budget after budget and election after election, because economics is politics and politics is economics in this country. We'll be back, but thank you very much to all my panelists and our experts in the studio here for being with me once again this budget day in India. Thank you.